Welcome, everyone, to the Avengenerds podcast, where we talk Marvel, DC, Star Wars, and more. I'm your host, Peyton, and with me is my co-host, Torin.
Yo, what's up?
We have a great show for everyone this week. We're going to be talking about our favorite TV shows in general. We also have the news of the week, so if you want to jump around, there are time codes in the description or the show notes, so you can go straight to the topic or see any particular piece of news you want. And with that, let's just get right into the news. The Boys is getting yet another spin-off series, or it will, I guess, called The Boys Mexico. It's in the works with Diego Luna and Gael Garcia Bernal executive producing. They're not going to star in any major capacity, at least, but Gareth Dunet Alcocer, who wrote Blue Beetle, will write the series. So The Boys is it's getting everything.
Yeah, I'm assuming that we're going to get The Boys Texas now after this.
I always wonder how people in like LA or New York feel when like everything is filmed there. So I'm just like if you live there, it's like I'm just seeing where I live. Is that jarring? Because we live in Texas, and it's like stuff happens in Texas, but like in movies, it's usually, if it's in Texas, it's usually like in the bumfuck middle of nowhere, like some fucking desert. And not like in a major city. So it's not, is that jarring? Like, I don't know. The Boys Texas, it's just like in Houston.
In Houston. That's crazy. I mean, that's funny though.
We also, this is according to Deadline. This is I don't really understand the reaction to this. I think the reaction to this is really interesting. Michael Waldron is now set as the new writer for Avengers: The Kang Dynasty. So he's writing both the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Now, him being the new writer for the Kang Dynasty sort of shows that despite Jonathan Majors, whole ordeal, it seems that they are not going away from Kang, the fact that, they hired him to write it at all. But this also means that Jeff Loveness, who wrote Quantumania and was the previous writer on the Kang Dynasty, is indeed off the project. So it's like people are happy and people are mad because, Michael Waldron is already a polarizing writer, I guess, for the MCU. But the reaction to this has been weird. When I saw the announcement and I looked at the comments, which I usually don't do, but I was like, people have such strong opinions on this guy. Most of the comments seem pretty lukewarm. Like, I didn't see a lot of like, oh, this guy, oh, it's going to be trash. You know what I mean? It was more like, oh, at least Jeff Loveness isn't writing it. And it's like, oh, this is the guy who did Loki. And it's probably like goodwill of Loki, being great. And maybe just people, I guess, just forgot Multiverse of Madness. But even though Michael Waldron didn't really have anything to do with season 2 of Loki, I'm still of the mind that Multiverse of Madness, even though we really enjoyed it, the writing could have been stronger, but also that they had to slap that movie together so quickly. Not a ton to write, or not a lot of time to write, and they had to rewrite a bunch of stuff on the fly. So, considering how well that movie turned out, considering the circumstances, plus Loki, I think this guy's a strong writer. He hasn't really done anything to really show that like he's trash. Like a lot of people, all I see is a lot of like weird circumstances that has led to, maybe some poor creative decisions, I guess.
Yeah.
And for a sense of continuity for the same writer to write both of those movies is probably a good thing.
It does make sense.
Indeed. This is according to Collider. Tom Holland says he will only return as Spider-Man if it makes sense for the character. He said, quote, "We have been actively engaging in talks about what it could potentially look like for a fourth rendition of my character. I feel very protective over Spider-Man. I won't make another one for the sake of making another one. It will have to be worth the while of the character." So people give Tom Holland so much shit, but he so clearly cares about the character. We've seen that time and time again. I mean, back when, Sony tried to pull him out of the MCU, and Tom Holland was pretty much the reason why he, got to stay. There was rumors going around a little while ago now that the idea for Spider-Man 4 was to merge the Sony Venom universe with the MCU. And I hope that's not true, but if Tom Holland is like, I'm not going to do a fourth one unless, it's actually it makes sense and it's worth doing. I don't see him co-signing on bringing in the Sony universe into the MCU and you know, connecting them. I don't see that being a thing. It also wouldn't make sense to have the No Way Home tease at the end of leaving the symbiote behind if they're just going to bring in Venom from that universe anyway. So again, hope that's not true. I trust Tom Holland. Hopefully they don't just recast if he's just like, no, I don't want to do this actually, and they're like, well, we're gonna do it without you. I feel like that would be such a Sony thing to do, but they seem to have a good working relationship with him, considering, you know, Tom Holland seems to be like their child, like between Uncharted and like Spies in Disguise. He's in a bunch of Sony shit, so hopefully, you know, things work out for the better and we get to keep Tom Holland.
Most definitely.
But that is the news of the week, which means it's time to move on to our topic, which is, of course, our favorite TV shows. Torin, why don't you start?
So, one of my favorite TV shows. I'm gonna start off with a, you know, kind of a different show here. It's on Max and it's called Warrior. Warrior is a show where it follows a character named Assam, and he's like a Chinese like slave worker, and he's being immigrated to the United States in a period called the Tong Wars. And like the Tong Wars was like a period where you know, these, you know, gangs were trying to take control of like these areas, and they have like molasses and stuff like that, and like, you know, it's kind of like a, like, think of it as like segregation, but for, you know, for the Asian community. It's a pretty good show. It has like martial arts, and like I'm a fan of martial arts, and what makes it even more interesting is that it's based on the writings of Bruce Lee. And so you have like his daughter Sharon Lee, and other people in his family who are, you know, executive producers on the show. And it's such a really cool show, and it's really interesting too, because like, you know, for me, like being someone who like likes history and wants to know more about history, I never really heard of the Tong Wars before, so it's something that I was interested in. And they just recently came out with season 3 of the show, because like I binged it, and like it was like literally perfect timing, because like once I finished season 2, it was like, oh yeah, they're making a season 3, and like, yeah, it came out recently, so I'm gonna have to check that out. But yeah, that's one of my favorite shows right now.
Starting the bar off low, I see.
Shut up.
I think people are going to see throughout this conversation that I don't watch a ton of dramas, not because I like it's not even like, oh, it's not like they're for me kind of thing. I love certain dramas. It's just I gotta be in such a mood to watch a drama. Like I really gotta be in like a truly like binging mood, because like each episode's gonna be like 40 plus minutes, and I'm just like, I don't feel like doing that, and yet I'll watch like 6 20-minute episodes of a sitcom in a row. It doesn't make any sense. But it's like, I don't know, the energy has to be there. So a lot of my top shows are generally sitcoms or comedies of some kind. That being said, Breaking Bad's pretty good. It jumped to one of my favorite shows. It's not like top 5 for me personally. For me, generally, if it's like if it's a favorites list, like, is Breaking Bad one of the best shows I've ever seen? Probably. Not necessarily one of my favorites. It's not like I'm going back to it all the time. But Breaking Bad is obviously just incredible. In some areas, it's a bit dated. Like that dubstep car thing. What was that? That was terrible. And you know, the show has some interesting moments, like Skylar singing Happy Birthday. But as far as the, you know, story goes, it's just incredible. Like, what is there to say that hasn't been said already? And obviously with that in tandem, Better Call Saul, which, you know, in my opinion, like, people was like, oh, is Breaking Bad better? Is Better Call Saul better? You know, after having some distance with Better Call Saul, which just ended relatively recently, they're kind of they're kind of on par. Like people say that like Better Call Saul, like, oh, like the first season is such a slog. I'm like, I mean, the first season of Breaking Bad was also a slog. It took me like 2 years to get through it. It's like Breaking Bad is not like off rip like the most like action packed show you've ever fucking seen, and it was probably because I was already invested within Breaking Bad as a universe that like season 1 of Better Call Saul was way easier for me to sit through. But yeah. Both those shows are phenomenal.
Yeah, I know they are. And like it's funny because like there was a thing to where I was having conversations with friends about like which show was better, and some people were saying how like the characterization of Better Call Saul was better to them than it was in Breaking Bad. And so whenever I got around to Better Call Saul, I binged the hell out of it, and then I got straight into season 6 because it was all up to season 5 on Netflix. And while I did think the characterization was really, really great in Better Call Saul, I don't think it was like in a sense better. Like you said, like the shows are so equal, and then like they complement each other so well that like I don't think I could ever really be like, oh yeah, this is better to me, because I feel like Better Call Saul wants to tell, not as like kind of like tell the same story but like in a different way compared to Breaking Bad, which of course Better Call Saul is a prequel. But I still think that like I can never really compare the two. It's they're so like well told, or they're so well written that it just makes both of them complement each other so nicely. And it's funny because I got to see Giancarlo like Esposito last year, and he was talking about like how he directed some of the episodes or an episode of Better Call Saul, and hearing his perspective on the show was like really like refreshing because like he just explained on how like what he had to do and how he got to direct it. It was so cool. It was really cool. But yeah, I definitely agree that they have their interesting moments, but both shows are just incredible for sure.
Yeah, I like Better Call Saul less because it made Gus gay, and
oh god,
I don't know how I feel about that. It seems a bit woke to me. No, but like, yeah, they complement each other super well, and Better Call Saul is one of those prequels where if you watch it, it adds so much depth to certain characters that it just makes Breaking Bad that much better.
Yeah.
Like you already fall in love with what's his name? Old boy
Mike?
Yeah, Mike. You already fall in love with Mike in Breaking Bad, but watching Better Call Saul, it's like, man, his character is just incredible, and it just makes Breaking Bad just an even better show, at least in my opinion. But what about you? You're next, technically.
Walter. This is something that I'm sure that's gonna be on both of our lists. Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yep.
Show is absolutely incredible. It's funny because like you were trying to get me to watch it for like a little bit, and I was like, all right, I'll get into it because like it was on Hulu, and then like, well, actually, you told me that like it's on Hulu, but it's gonna go to Peacock, so I was like, all right. Bet.
And I think it was one of those shows that like I think, or at least I like to think, or what I assume is that what kind of sold you on it more was that I told you that, and I assume you were gonna say this, that like the first episode, it's the first show that I think I've seen that gets it right off the first episode. Like it understands what the show is. Usually in shows in the first season, it's like trying to find its footing. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it's like it puts you in the middle of the second season. That's what it feels like.
Yeah,
it just gets right to it. It's incredible.
Yeah, and with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I was like, all right, yeah, like you said, it understood right away what it was. So I was like, all right, cool. And then like the cast itself, like literally just was so like cool to me. it was like so cool. It's so like funny, and like it's one of the things where it's sort of like you know how like what episodes do like shows where they'll do an episode and then do like sequels of that episode, but it doesn't hit the same.
Yeah,
they do that in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but it makes it so much like better.
You know, like the Halloween heists.
Yeah, the Halloween episode. Yeah, I'm just like, dude, this is so funny, and they always manage to like do a twist within the episode, and it's like it's so like I don't know, like dude, like I have to rewatch Brooklyn Nine-Nine since I have Peacock, but
true. Yeah. You could also just watch Parks and Rec.
Oh, yeah, later, later. But yeah, also like what made Brooklyn Nine-Nine like special for me is that like the last season, like it's funny because like I know when something's good to me whenever I cry at the end of it, and I don't usually cry at the end of things. So like Brooklyn Nine-Nine made me cry at the end, and I was like, wow, this show is like really really good. Like I love it so much, and I think like what also makes it better is like how it's shot, like you know that format, like the kind of like that like Steadicam movement, and also just that it's comedy. I love comedy shows, so I don't know, I just love it all around.
Yeah, it's filmed like almost like a mockumentary, except there's no like looking at the camera. There's no talking heads. The talking heads are replaced with I hate to say it like this, but like Family Guy style cutaways. And it's such a fantastic sort of twist on what creators Dan Gore and Mike Schur have done previously, which is The Office and Parks and Recreation, and they did it just beautifully. And for me, Brooklyn Nine-Nine is also one of my favorite shows. It's one of those shows that I'll rewatch all the time. It's one of those shows that you just put on. Like it's one of the most consistent sitcoms you'll ever watch. Like I truly can't think of like, oh well, this is the bad episode of this season, or even like, oh, this is the bad season of this show. Like there isn't any of that for Brooklyn Nine-Nine, at least in my opinion. You see a lot of people online that say season 8 sucks, but I feel like a lot of those people are, yeah, because of the political shit, even though it was political the entire time. But
no media literacy, bro.
Zero. But yeah, it's just a phenomenal show. The cast is incredible. Obviously, Andy Samberg is phenomenal. He always has been. Melissa Fumero is incredible. Stephanie Beatriz, of course. Terry Crews is hilarious. But the highlight for me is Andre Braugher as Captain Holt. To me, to this day, and I don't think he'll be dethroned for a long ass time, to me is the best sitcom character in television, period. No matter what episode I rewatch, he always gets me to like, he just gets me to laugh out loud, which is rare to me. Like I'm the kind of guy who watches something and I go, that's funny. Like, even if it's like really funny, I'm like, oh, that's good. Like, but to get me to like truly like laugh out loud, he's one of the only characters to do that consistently too. He's I think and it only works with Andre Braugher at the helm for that character, because he's just his performance in that show is just incredible. And like a lot of sitcoms, you'll hear that like a lot of them, at least towards the end of the series than towards the start of the series, the characters tend to become more like the actors, and they're sort of like heightened characters of the actors. It's sort of the same for him too. Apparently in real life he is pretty hard to read and very serious. But yeah, when he like gets into it like with the crew and shows a bit of his softer side and he gets a little goofy, it's so delightful to me. It's so good. I love him so much.
I love Captain Holt, bro. And I love seeing like once in a while like Brooklyn Nine-Nine compilations like on TikTok or like YouTube, because it's like, damn, like I just like love this show. It's so comforting. I'm glad I was able to like binge all 8 seasons like within like a week.
I don't know, bro.
Like maybe like a week and a half. I don't know.
Cracked out.
Yeah, I remember I would text you. I'm like, dude, like I'm already on season 4, and you're like, what the hell? Like you started like 2 days ago. I'm like, yeah.
It's crazy how you could binge Parks and Rec even faster. It's a season less.
You're right. You're right. After I learned people in Mortal Kombat.
Oh my god.
Sorry.
You could do it. You could watch it as you play Mortal Kombat.
Nah, dude, can't do that. It's one or the other, bro. I'm focused on Mortal Kombat so I can get revenge.
There is no revenge to be had. We want an equal amount of games to each. There's no revenge.
No.
You're naturally good at fighting games. It's not fair.
Not naturally good at fighting games.
Yes, you are. You can pick up any character and just get it.
No, that's not how it works.
It is how that works. That's because that's exactly what happened.
Nah, dude. Anyways, my next show is Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm gonna say it. I've been saying it for years. I mean, I think that is a fucking perfect show. Like, I don't think like there has been like I don't think right now, or at least a show that I can think of, you know, there's been a show where every character has great justice, great character arcs, great storytelling, great world building in the span of 3 seasons, more than I have as an Avatar. I just think that every single aspect of that show, from the combat, from the voice acting, the plot, it's just absolutely like phenomenal to me. Like, and I really love how in each season there's like, you know, there is a big twist and there is something to where the plot progression doesn't feel like forced. It's all like really connected and like in like the best way possible. Every character has like, you know, like I said, you know, the character arcs are just so great, and the gang, you know, as I call them, like they're just some of the best groups I've seen in like, you know, television. And like just I really like that show. Like it's just amazing to me, and I can't wait for the Netflix one. It looks great. I still have some low hopes for it, kind of. Like, I know I just said I was excited for it, but I'm cautiously optimistic is what I meant to say. But overall, like, Avatar: The Last Airbender is just phenomenal.
Wouldn't know.
Yeah, I know you wouldn't know. While you watching Avatar: The Last Airbender is like my Parks and Rec.
I watched like half of the first season.
Yeah, and you need to continue that.
I don't remember where I left off. Is it still on Netflix?
Yeah, I think it's on Netflix. If not, it's probably on some place where I have it. I'll just give you my account. Plus. Yeah, I'll give you my account for Paramount.
No, I have Paramount.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Real. But real.
If you watch Parks and Rec, I'll watch Avatar.
I can do that.
Okay.
We can arrange something.
Yeah, we used to do those trades.
We do, yeah.
That's how I got you to listen to John Bellion.
Yeah.
And now look at you. The biggest John Bellion fan.
A changed man, dude. See what John Bellion does to somebody? Changes them for the better.
You begged me to watch Tucker and Dale versus Evil. And I
did beg you because it's so funny.
And I'll get to that.
Okay, buddy.
I'll get to that, but you know, Parks and Rec's right there. I actually forgot to write down Tucker and Dale versus Evil, so I gotta write Tucker and Dale. My next show, geez, what to choose? There's so many. You chose an animated show. I'll choose an animated show. Regular show.
Yeah, it's gonna be either regular show or Adventure Time.
Regular show is certainly up there. It's so fucking stupid. It's one of the dumbest shows you'll ever watch, but god damn it, is it good. It somehow makes you give a shit about the characters despite being so fucking stupid, and the character designs being relatively simple. And it's like one of those like art styles where it's not like it's not bad, it's just like sort of like it's not what would the word, like polished, I guess.
Yeah,
like it uses a lot of like, you could like see like brush strokes and shit in certain, like especially in like backgrounds of scenes. Anyway, the characters are phenomenal, especially towards the end where it gets a bit more linear. Mordecai and Rigby are incredible. Rigby's my guy. I love Rigby. I remember back in the day, me and my friend, we used to we gave each other role. He was Mordecai and I was Rigby, and I was like, fuck yeah, I love Rigby. He's the goat. I don't give a shit how annoying he is. He's the best. Fuck Mordecai. Nah, Mordecai's cool. I like Mordecai, but like, if we're being honest,
Mordecai's cool, but like sometimes
he a little bitch.
Yeah,
I mean Rigby's a little bitch too, but like Mordecai, he's a bigger bitch. Like the character development for Rigby is insane, like compared to Mordecai. Like, yeah, for sure. Mordecai is like remains relatively stagnant throughout the series, and Rigby goes through like this whole growth as a character. I fucking love Rigby, man. He's also easily the funniest character to me too. It's one of those shows, sort of like SpongeBob, where like as you get older, people are like, man, Squidward makes a lot of sense. It's like, oh, Benson is like. Yeah. As you watch it as a kid and you're like, man, Benson's such a drag, dude. They just want to like chill, dude. And now you get older, it's like, Jesus, man, just do your job.
I know, exactly.
Work now, play later. Jesus Christ. But you know, that we wouldn't have a show, would we? So yeah, a regular show is just, I love it so much. It's one of those shows that sort of shaped my humor, you know what I mean? Yeah. And it also, I don't know what like came first, the chicken or the egg, because they're so, that style of humor and Mordecai and Rigby's relationship is so similar to Ian and Anthony from Smosh. I'm like, did I like Smosh because it reminded me of regular show, or did I like regular show because it reminded me of Smosh? I have no idea, but I love regular show. It's just phenomenal.
Yeah, I remember I binged regular show because it was on Hulu. Yeah. And dude, like, just the amount of shit that like they get into, it's just so funny to me. I think one of my favorite episodes, of course, you know, like there's a ton of episodes that I love, but one of my favorites is like, you know, the damn, like, what was he? Oh yeah, he was a unicorn. And he's taking the history test.
Oh my god!
Mordecai is like, Benson, you have to let him take this test, or the whole world is gonna explode. It's so fucking stupid. And I also love the one where like, the basketball god.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up. And then the bass comes in, as he flies in.
And he's like the model of like Wilt Chamberlain, like tall, skinny figure. And also the afro. One where, yeah. Also, another one that I love is the arcade, where like they go against like this oh no, it was like kind of like this like gigantic like god figure or something like that. At the end, he like fucking explodes or some shit.
You know how often that happens?
that happens a lot.
But like, yeah, regular show is one of those things that's like every now and again something from the series like pops into my head, and usually because for whatever reason on Cartoon Network, at least this is my experience, a lot of the reruns are from like the early episodes. So the amount of times I heard like a bunch of baby ducks, send them to the moon, sun machine that doesn't work, send it to the moon.
I fucking I end up quoting that show. I start saying random shit like all the time. Like sometimes whenever I get into like something, I'm just like, oh, how in the H am I gonna fix this S?
Yeah. Or he crosses his arms, you pissed me off.
Take it to the moon, take it to the moon. Oh, won't you take this to the moon?
Milk. Cereal.
Combine.
Me and my friend, we used to, I guess, play regular show. We do the don't look at our crotches while we synchronize our watches. Boop, boop, beep, boop, 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 beep, beep, boop. Beep, 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 beep. Synchronize. Like, it's so fucking stupid.
Oh, dude, it's so fun, dude. Oh, I love it.
Mark Hamill's in it.
He is in it.
Gotta love that.
He is. Took me a long time to figure out that is Mark Hamill, because you know it just, oh my, wow.
Even though it just sounds like him. What's
It's
he?
kind of yeah, because like once I saw it, it's like I can't get it out of my head.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's clearly Mark Hamill.
That was me whenever like because Mark Hamill's in Avatar.
Yeah,
That's what I was like, oh wow.
just Mark
It
Hamill.
made sense. Yeah, I'm like, it makes sense. Just Mark Hamill doing Mark Hamill things.
Mordecai Rigby. Crazy how Mordecai fumbles.
Dude,
so hard.
he can't. Dude, he has zero riz, bro.
Like, I didn't like Margaret to begin with, so I didn't really mind that. But CJ, come on, bro. What are you doing?
Yeah, he fumbled CJ.
Fucking idiot. But Rigby, though, he got Eileen, stayed with Eileen. He's the... I love Rigby. I love Rigby, man. Oh, again, something that's stuck in my head. It's like, with the world is ending, as it usually does. And they have to, like, tell truths, and Rigby's like, I think Eileen looks hot without her glasses on.
Yeah.
That pops up every now and again. And also just playing Spider-Man and hearing Rigby is Doc Ock. It's always jarring.
Funny.
When he's like being sinister, I don't hear it. It's just when he's yelling, or I'm like, oh, it's Rigby. Anyway, move on.
Damn, I'm trying to figure out another show.
So many shows.
There is a lot of shows. I'm gonna pull in an anime right now.
Oh, Jesus, here we go.
Shut up, bro.
You and your anime.
I haven't even watched anime in like months, dude. It's been a while. But one of my favorite shows is Yu Yu Hakusho. It's a really cool like 90s show. I think it's like one that's like super duper like it's not really dated as people want to make it
That's
out
a
to me,
90s anime?
Yeah, it's 90s.
Oh.
It's
more
super
recent.
I mean they're making a movie of the show that's gonna
cool.
come
Everyone
on
wants
Netflix.
that.
Yeah, I know, right? Especially when it's anime content, it doesn't really work out so well. But anyways, like Yu Yu Hakusho is another show of mine where the group of people have such great like chemistry and such great character arcs. Of course, I love the fighting. I love the character. I mean, no, besides the character arcs, I love the arcs of the show, because it's like, dang, like they could go through something, and like I know, like, the characters have like plot armor, but like the plot armor isn't like as significant to me, because they're always managed to like use their brains and like win battles, and even sometimes like they don't even like lose. I mean like they like lose some of the battles. So one of my favorite characters is, of course, like Yusuke Urameshi, who gets hit by a car, and he figures out he's a ghost, and he has to join this organization, and he becomes a spirit detective, and he hunts down demons, and he meets other people, and they're really, really cool too, and they have all these like different abilities. But like I said, with Yu Yu Hakusho, it's like really, it's such a great show that I feel like people should watch, because it's like, I feel like people love like supernatural things, and even then it's like a fighting show, so you watch it easily. Like one of my favorite lines from that show, Yusuke says, he says like, yeah, I don't care if she's a baby or lady or someone's grandma, I'll still knock her out. It's so fucking hilarious, dude. It's funny.
I wouldn't know.
Of course not.
God, shows. So many shows. Well, I guess I'll go with Old Faithful. The Office.
The Office.
Yes.
Good choice.
Yeah, of course. The Office, a classic. It's one of those shows that's so popular that it's popular to hate on it. Especially nowadays. It's like that, since that phase has sort of come and gone of it being like the biggest thing. Like when I want to say that was like, was that like freshman year of high school? It was like really big at one point. It's like, who's your Jim and who's your Pam? That sort of thing. And for whatever reason, that The Office is always put up against Friends. Two completely different shows. Even though Friends is trash, we're Friends haters. This podcast, Friends is anyway.
You're not a fan of it.
No. The Office is fucking great. Obviously, again, unlike Brooklyn Nine-Nine, it is one of those shows where it does have a bad season, which is season 8. A lot of people don't like season 9. I actually like season 9. I think they sort of like get back to what The Office should be, in my opinion, in season 9. But regardless, season 8, trash. Season 8 is one of those seasons that's there's a lot of funny moments in it, but they work in a vacuum. Like if you watch like clips of the show of like season 8, it's like, oh, this is some funny stuff. But like as the show, as a 20-minute episode, it doesn't really work as well as the previous seasons. But the previous seasons are incredible. The characters are hilarious. Steve Carell is obviously just a powerhouse of comedy in that show. You know, a lot of people say the show died when he left. I think there was a path they could have taken where it could have survived more successfully without him. I think they just took the wrong step with characters like Robert California, unfortunately, because again, season 9 I do think is a step up, although they do fuck with characters like Andy and stuff that really but yeah, seasons 1 through 7 are just truly delightful, and it's one of those shows that's like, again, for a lot of these shows, really, they're comfort shows. Brooklyn Nine-Nine being a huge one, and The Office. I always tend to cycle throughout shows, Brooklyn Nine-Nine and The Office and a couple others, which I'll get to. Then it's like once I finish one, I'll move on to the other one, and I just cycle through. I cycle through them constantly. Right now, I'm going through a casual Brooklyn Nine-Nine rewatch. But yeah, The Office is incredible. You got that cringe comedy, which I usually don't love, but The Office is it's The Office. It's like, it's objectively like, and I hate using the word subjective, but like obviously if you don't like The Office, you don't like The Office. But what I'm saying is, objectively as a show, it's created so well. The jokes are written so well. The actors perform it so well that they're still, to this day, people are asking the actors like, was this improvised? And it's like, no, the likelihood is it probably wasn't improvised. The storylines, being able to create comedy, really great comedy out of the mundane, is such a difficult thing to do, and they excel at it so well. And which is again another reason why the sort of later seasons aren't as good, because it sort of loses that. A lot of this is supposed to be just basic shit that everyone sort of goes through, and making comedy out of it, and they just sort of lose that eventually. But The Office as a show, I think is fucking phenomenal, and I love it so much. It's one of my comfort shows, and I think it's fantastic. And even though it doesn't get the laughs out of me necessarily, like it doesn't make me like laugh out loud, sort of like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, something about it just it feels comforting. As I said, it is a comfort show for me, and I don't know what it is about it, but for obviously that's what it is for a lot of people. But yeah, they really, I don't know, they really hit the nail on the head with that show. And like I said, even though it's not necessarily like the funniest show you'll ever watch, it is very comforting, and it has a lot of fun moments compared to the UK version of The Office, which is very dry, which is UK humor is dry. The American version, it injects some of that heart into it that a lot of American shows need, and it does it so well. Michael's character in particular is such a fucking annoying ass character, but there's so much heart to his character that Steve Carell really drives home in his performance, that he just, especially in the 7th season when he leaves, you just root for the guy. And you know, and you have characters like Jim and Dwight who have their back and forth, their ongoing rivalry because they're frenemies. I love their dynamic, and I love their arc throughout the show, eventually becoming just genuine friends. I think I'm rambling, but yeah, I think the show is fucking great.
Yeah, I remember when I watched it, I was like, man, you know, like, I'm like, dang, like The Office, like this is it, like this is the day where I watch it. I did give it the Parks and Rec treatment, pre-Parks and Rec treatment. skipping season 1.
As did I.
Yeah, and I watched season 2. It felt like super, like it felt super good doing that. I don't know. I felt like it was just right skipping season 1, and then I kept watching it. I binged it and I binged it. I'm like, man, this is just fucking crazy. And like, I have already seen like moments of The Office, like, you know, like on YouTube or whatever. And I think the one, besides like you telling me to watch it, the one scene that got me to watch The Office was was Dwight cutting off the
no fucking way. That's what got me to watch it.
Yeah, it was Dwight cutting off the
face of the CPR dummy.
Yeah, and putting it on.
Going Clarice.
Yeah, and it's so funny because, you know, you hear people screaming, you're like, oh my god, and then it's just like that. And that's so funny to me.
That got me to watch it too. Not seeing the clip. I watched the episode because I used to be an Office hater, to be honest with you, because I tried watching the first season, and the first season is a fucking slog, and it's boring. I don't think it's boring anymore. I don't know if I've said it on the podcast before, but I think season 1 is really great as a prequel season. I think it works really well in that regard. But if you're trying to watch the show for the first time, season 1 is not it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so as an Office hater, I was like, I don't think this is funny at all. Like, and I had sort of like an acquaintance / friend. It was a school friend. I think it was like junior year of high school. It was relatively recently. Actually, no, it wasn't. That was like that was a while ago now. Ugh, I don't like that. But she was a huge Office fan, as you can imagine. You know, like I was just like, Jesus Christ, like, it's like, oh my god, you haven't seen The Office? Like, oh, it's such a great show. And I was like, yeah, sure it is. And she was like, look. Because I think I told her, I was like, oh, I watched like some of season 1, like 3 or 4 episodes. She was like, look, watch these 2 episodes, and I think it's season 5. Just watch these 2 episodes, and if you don't like it, then fine. And I was like, okay, fine, fair enough. I'll watch 2 episodes. It was season 5. It was, I believe, it was the episode with the cold open where Dwight sets the fire. And the fire alarm goes off, and he's like, it's not a drill, and like Angela like throws her cat into the ceiling and shit. And like, I thought that was really fucking funny, and I also think that episode was like the roast of Michael Scott. That was really good. And then of course the episode where they do the CPR dummy, and when Dwight did that, it had me on the fucking floor. I
was like, it was so funny because something's happening, and then it just cuts to that, dude.
Yeah, it's so fucking good.
And the way he turns.
Yeah, it is just eyes in the. It's so good. It's so good.
It's so funny, dude.
But I was like, fuck, this is really funny. And I don't think she actually told me to do it. I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to skip season 1. And I was a good decision. because yeah, just right off jump, season 2, I was immediately in. I was like, oh yeah, I'm loving this. So yeah.
Hell yeah, The Office. You never know. My next one is The Bear. I absolutely love this show. From the cinematography, the tension, the anxiety it gives you, the plot, the characters, just overall the atmosphere of the show is it's so good. It's so good. And you know, FX has been, you know, they've been in their bag for a while, you know.
Yeah, they put out peak, like, bro. Atlanta.
Yeah. Atlanta, season 1 of Dave. I haven't seen season 2.
I don't like season 2.
I haven't seen it.
I don't think it was good.
You have The Bear, and then they're releasing another show called Shogun, which I'm wanting to watch. It comes out in February. But yeah, man, like The Bear is just so good. Like, and it's funny because, like, you know, I've always been a fan of, like, you know, just cooking in general. I've been wanting to cook since I was like a kid. I've learned from it from my family, and seeing how it was like primarily going to be like a chef restaurateur like type of series, I was already hooked. Especially, you know, you had like Jeremy Allen White, which I haven't really seen too much of him. Like, I've heard of him, you know, through Shameless, so I was really wanting to check it out. And so, like, season 1 is just like great, and then season 2 is like even better. It really does tell a great story of, like, hardships through, of course, money, through like family, like mental health, and just the overall stress and tension and anxiety that the show brings in, and just like makes it even better. And also, like I said, with it being like kind of like a chef style show, you reminded me of my late grandma, so that's kind of also why I love the show as well. It's a comfort show for me. Glad they got renewed. Yeah, the bear. Yeah,
the bear is a comfort show for you.
A comfort.
I mean, that's really sweet with the grandma thing, but I just think it's hilarious.
No.
The constantly yelling and berating the characters.
No, dude.
It's like, home.
No, the thing is that, like, there is a family, like, diabolical, not diabolical, like kind of like a family dynamic, really bad family dynamic. I mean, I don't go through that, but the fact that, I've worked in the kitchen before, and that's how it is. I'm just like, yes, this is relatable to me, because I've been in that position. Not like, being yelled at, but
no, I do get it, because it's same with me in like Whiplash. It's like I'm not getting fucking berated for playing music,
but you've been in, like,
yeah, it's I relate to it in that way.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, him, like, Jeremy Allen White's character Carmi, like, being able to just, like, be this like top chef and trying to work things around, and he's like, like them like cooking up stuff, and they go to these different restaurants throughout the city of Chicago, and I don't know, I like that stuff. And plus, like, I also like, the cast is really, really great too, because it also has Maddie Matheson, who's like a real life chef, and I've watched Maddie Matheson for years. And like, I've taken inspiration from his recipes and also like his style. So the fact that, it has that, it's funny because, like, those emotions people don't want to feel. They don't want to watch something and be stressed and have anxiety all the time. But like, it's like seeing that in that show, knowing what the story tells, that's what I like. If I'm able to feel all those emotions through certain aspects of the show, I think that's a great thing I want to see. And it obviously, it's one of my favorite shows ever. We're 2 seasons in, got confirmed for a 3rd. Can't wait for that.
I watched the first few episodes and I really liked it, but a part of me is hesitant to continue because I don't want to get through it and then I have to wait week to week when season 3 comes out. Part of me is just like, do I just want to wait until it's all out and then just completely binge it?
Yeah, I understand, because like that's how it was with me, because season 1 ends off on like a hopeful note that, like, wow, like you can't wait to see what's happening. And then season 2 happens, and it's like they kind of kept some of that hopefulness, but it just kind of like, it's like it kind of goes up and goes down. And it's like, I don't think, actually, no, I did wait week to week for an episode, so that was kind of just distraught feeling. And then, like, yeah, it's that it's that void of when a show ends, because it ends on a pretty chaotic like feeling, and it's like, damn, that's how it ends. So, but
yeah, I will get to it. That is one of those shows where I'm definitely,
yeah, I feel you, I understand.
For me, my next one, I mean, gotta be Adventure Time. In my opinion, no exaggeration, best animated show of all time, bar none, in my opinion. Season 1, goofy and childlike, of course it is. He's a child, he's like 13. But like, as the show goes on, even in those early seasons, I mean, they plant seeds, but arguably even more than regular show, they go through some dark shit. That show, I mean, Finn really goes through it in that show. There's a lot of allegories for a lot of different things. it's just, I love the world and I love the characters. I love the animation, the style of it. I think it's brilliant. The humor, again, it's one of those shows that shaped my humor. It's just so stupid and silly that I just fucking I love it so much. Jake is probably my favorite character. He's just a delightful character. He's just a goofy guy. I love him so much.
Just a little silly guy who likes making pancakes.
Yeah, it also does the deep voice randomly, and it kills me every time. Fucking love it.
Constant harassment of the female gender makes me sick.
I watched it when I watched that episode because I binged all of it relatively recently. Like a couple years ago, I watched. Okay, when someone says like, "Oh, I'm watching Dragon Ball abridged," what do they mean by that?
Abridged?
Yeah, when they say like, "Oh, I'm watching the abridged version," what does that mean?
Oh, that's like a more comedic version of Dragon Ball where it's like different voiceovers and stuff like that.
Really?
That's pretty much what it is. Yeah.
That's what that is?
Yeah, because like it's made by Team 4-Star and they just do like different voiceovers of the show.
Oh. As someone who doesn't watch anime, when I heard abridged, it sounded like a shortened version, so I assumed abridged was just like taking the filler out.
No, so they did do something like that, which is called Dragon Ball Z Kai. Dragon Ball Z Kai is where they took out all the filler and they like changed the way the show looks, and that's just what they did. But yeah, Dragon Ball Z Abridged is like, yeah, it's just like where they I mean, they do certain segments of the show and they just do like random voice, they just do like voiceovers over it. That's pretty much what they do.
I see. All right, well, throw that out then. Basically 2 years ago I watched I sort of watched Adventure Time, but I sort of just watched the linear episodes, and then just this past year I just binged every episode. God, I love it so much. But like when I got to that episode where Jake's like, "Your constant harassment of the female gender makes me sick. In the subtitles it said "as Batman." I was like, what the fuck? And there was one time where Jake was doing like his like deep but like sexy voice. He was like, "Come here, baby," and shit like that. And it said like "as Barry White." I was like, oh my god. But yeah, that show is fucking brilliant, and I love Marceline and Princess Bubblegum's relationship. I think they're fucking great characters. People hate Princess Bubblegum, but I don't know. I don't have the hatred for her as that a lot of other people do. But then the show just gets even better with the, you know, their small spin-offs like Adventure Time Distant Lands. Just adds a bit of context to you know, sort of what happens after the show, but also some of the characters' lives pre the start of the show. And then of course we have Fiona and Cake, which just came out recently, which is just fucking brilliant. I love it. I love that show to death as well. It's just the universe of Adventure Time is just so rich, and there's so much room to tell stories in that universe, and like they managed to tell 10 seasons worth of stories in that series, and they could still do so much. I love Adventure Time. It's the best animated show for me.
There's so like I have to actually rewatch the entire thing because I don't remember where I left off because I was watching it when it was still on TV and I just don't remember when. I do remember it was like around the part where the Lich was introduced. So
was introduced?
Yeah, well, not actually not introduced, but like he was becoming more involved in the story. So and then
sure.
Like I don't remember. I just don't remember where I left off. But it's on Hulu, right?
It's on Hulu. It's on Max.
Oh, thank God.
Yes,
thank God.
No ads.
Thank God. So let's add that to the binge list. Let's add that to the binge list because it's also one of the things to where like I've seen the show so much to where like I've seen like all these like clips so where like I've seen clips from like maybe season 8, like season 9.
Sure.
like, you know, so it's like it's one of those things, and I love, like, it's funny because whenever I see something, I text you, I'm like, oh, this is where it is, that's where it came from.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, you know, Adventure Time is like, you know, the story, or so far, you know, from what I've seen, like, you know, the story and the characters is just, it's so like interesting to see, because it's like they like somehow like learn, yeah, they all like learn like from their like mistakes, and like it's every episode, it's like there's something that goes on that I just like really adore about it. Of course, some of my favorite characters, of course, you know, Jake and Finn, but I love BMO. Like, BMO's so fucking adorable. Yeah. And there's one episode that it's so funny because it stuck with me this whole entire time, and like whenever I say I'm about to explode, I think of this character. Remember that zombie episode?
Of course.
And like how like Starchy sees a zombie.
That's the first episode.
And, yeah. That's the first episode. That's the first thing that comes to my mind all the time, where I'm like, man, I'm about to explode. I just think of Starchy. And then just fucking explodes into nothingness. I just love that.
Yeah. But like, yeah, Adventure Time is just, it's brilliant. And the character arcs that they go through, yeah, I definitely like highly recommend binging it, because it was sort of the same thing for regular show. I was going to mention it, but I forgot. It was one of those shows that like I didn't grow out of it, obviously, otherwise I wouldn't think it's but like I stopped having cable. So it's like I literally could not watch it, that or regular show. So eventually like I with regular show even more so than Adventure Time, I had no idea how linear it got towards the end, and sort of the similar thing went for Adventure Time. So I sort of stopped. I think I stopped watching Adventure Time. I want to say it was when Fern came along, but I think it was before that. I think I just knew about Fern like through the grapevine, you know, like you said, like clips and stuff. I don't know if I actually watched it, but yeah, it's just a phenomenal series.
Yeah, for sure. I already knew. You know what? I'm just gonna get into the obvious, and it's both of ours. Community.
Yeah, I was thinking about saving for last. I was stalling.
It's fucking Community, man. It's, oh my fucking god. I also like love how the public has caught on to Community like recently as well, because whenever like you know you were telling me to watch it, and you're saying how it's like super underrated, and I'm like,
yeah, this is I want to make it clear, this is before it was on Netflix, where it had a huge surge in popularity again.
Yeah, so like, yeah, it was on Hulu at the time, and you were like, dude, like you should like watch Community, like, because like this was after I watched The Office, and this was before I watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and you're like, yeah, you should like watch Community, it's like so underrated. Like I think like you would like really like it, and you know, and you were telling me like season 1 is like really slow, but I still think that you should like watch it. And I was like, all right, cool, like I don't know, whatever. And then I watched the first season, and I'm like, wow, this is actually like really, really good. Season 2 is so much better. Like there's so much shit that's going on, and there's so much like so many lines of dialogue that is just so funny. So I was really invested into like the characters, and then like, you know, I would text you like every 2 hours saying that I'm on a new season. I binged it.
Yeah, that's probably the fastest series you've ever binged.
Yeah, no, it is.
So fast.
It is. It is. I think I binged 6 seasons in 4 days.
I don't remember, some insane shit.
Fucking speed run.
Bro was not sleeping.
No, dude, I wasn't. And like I just made it even faster by skipping the intro. Sorry.
Give me a roll, time and a dream. Give me the hope to run out of steam. Yeah, Community's incredible. I think I started watching it because I just wanted to see more stuff that Donald Glover was in. He was like, oh, he's in this show Community. It's like, all right.
You say, all right, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit, this is peak fiction. Yeah, season 1, it's not even like season 1's like necessarily even slow. It's just compared to the rest of the show, it's the least batshit crazy.
Yeah.
It's more of a straightforward sitcom that first season. But then they go balls to the wall in season 2 and beyond. And Community is one of those shows, if you go online, you'll see like, oh, season 4 is the worst season. Oh, it fell off after Donald Glover left. And it's like, the show definitely changed and it shifted in some of its tone, and new characters brought in. Were they as good as Donald Glover? Of course not. But I don't think the show completely like fell off the fucking map. Like, it's still a great show. Like, season 4 is generally regarded as the worst season of the show. And it's like, I don't necessarily disagree with that, but for the worst season of a 6-season show, it's still better than a lot of TV shows.
Yeah.
It like Community at its worst is still better than Friends. Community at its worst is still better than The Office at its worst, in my opinion. I think there's still a lot of fun to be had in that show, even when it has its lows, which it doesn't have many, in my opinion. Yeah. In my opinion, it's probably my favorite sitcom. I think it's just incredibly well written. A lot of people take issue with a lot of Community. It's like we go through the episode and then at the end it's like, here's the moral of the story. But I don't know. I think it's deeper than that. I think it's better than that. But yeah, obviously the entire cast is fucking phenomenal. I think people need to put some respect on Shirley's name. Yvette Nicole Brown is incredible. I fucking love that character. she's such a badass in that show. I fucking love it. And anytime she goes to like the stereotypical like sassy black woman, it's fucking hilarious to me. she's like that doesn't make any sense. I'll make your ass sense. like I fucking love her so much. And like some of the jokes are just fucking out of pocket. Like there was the episode where Abed keeps hiring a bunch of like celebrity impersonators, and he's like in debt to the guy who runs that sort of company, and he comes to the school and he's like, you guys got to impersonate people, to like sort of pay off your friend's debt. And he looks at Troy and Britta. He's like, oh, this is rare. Both versions of Michael Jackson.
Oh my
it's
god,
fucking crazy.
I also like, oh, what was the line? Like where Britta was like, oh, like, I don't tolerate this, but I can tolerate racism. And
I can tolerate racism, but I draw the line in animal cruelty. Like, you can excuse racism. That's so fucking good. I fucking love the show so much.
And it's also like the show where like it's also a thing to where I text you, oh wow, this is where it came from. Like, the infamous meme of Kim Ji-young going gay,
gay?
Circulating the internet for years. And then like recently, like the whole like Don Glover walking in holding pizza while everything's on fire.
Yeah,
like that meme.
Yeah, and GIFs that you've seen for so long. It's like you don't even think about it. It's like, oh shit, this is from Community.
He's like, oh yeah, this is where it's from. So yeah, I was like, yeah, whenever I got to that shit, whenever I binge watched, I was like, oh wow, like it makes sense to me now. But yeah, the Community is like one of those shows to where it's like it is like slow at first, but like once you get to season 2, it really does change. And like also like it still manages to be like super engaging even when like Troy isn't around. Like I remember what was Troy in the one where they go into like it was like a video game?
Yeah, Troy was there.
Oh, okay.
But one of the ones I believe Troy wasn't in it was I think it was shit, I don't remember, but it was when Abed is Nicolas Cage for a bit.
Oh yeah.
That's really good. One of my favorite episodes of the show is in the arguably worst season 4. It's when Troy and Britta are out on a date, and Abed doesn't like that. He thinks because Annie sort of forces it, and to Abed, because he's, you know, neurodivergent. and to this day, you see a lot of people on the internet say he's easily one of the best depictions of autism on screen, and they weren't even trying to necessarily be like PC about it or whatever. It's just a phenomenal performance from Danny Pudi. But one of my favorite episodes is Andy sort of forces Britta and Troy together, and Abed doesn't like that, and he has his dreamatorium, and they sort of go through a bunch of scenarios of just sort of the way Abed feels and how he sees the characters. It's just a really, really touching and heartfelt episode of the show. And yeah, I think because like I said earlier, even in it, at its worst, it has some incredible gems. I think people just, I don't know. I think people just give a lot of shit to season 4 because that's the season where Dan Harmon was fired. And it's like, yeah, it definitely lost something, because season 3 into season 4, the characters sort of become caricatures of themselves. And it's like, you can feel that, but it's not as bad as people make it out to be. Yeah. I adore the show. Donald Glover is obviously the heart of the show.
Yeah, for sure.
You have the bit where he's like, someone says, "Oh, you sneeze like a girl." He says, "How about I pound you like a boy?" That didn't come out right.
Yeah, that was crazy. Oh, is it still my turn?
I think so. Yeah. No, wait, no, it's my turn. You brought up Community. Oh shit.
Yeah,
my bad. Well, I got to go with Parks and Rec. Talked about it a little bit earlier, so I'm not going to go too into detail, you know, to avoid spoilers for Torn right here. But fuck, man, Parks and Rec again. I've told you this before. It's more similar to Brooklyn Nine-Nine as far as tone goes than The Office. But you know, again, more akin to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. One of the more consistent sitcoms I've ever seen. Again, other than that first season, which is more similar to The Office, there's not a bad season. There really isn't. And the last season, I hate to say it, I think it's better than Brooklyn Nine-Nine's. I think it's better. I think it's better than Brooklyn Nine-Nine's last season. What? I think it is.
What?
I know. What? I'm just saying.
But
there's a lot of similarities in Brooklyn Nine-Nine to Parks and Rec as far as like the character, I guess, archetypes go. Like Aziz Ansari's character is very much Gina in Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Obviously, Captain Holt and Ron Swanson are relatively similar. The goofy lead, it's like all the characters like switch around as far as like where they are in the show, because like Chris Pratt's character is pretty similar to Andy Samberg's character. Melissa Fumero's character, Amy Santiago, is kind of Leslie Knope-esque. You have Aubrey Plaza's character is very similar to Rosa. It's like there's a lot of similarities between a lot of the characters, and but like they're obviously still their own characters. It's not like Ron Swanson's a black gay guy. You know what I mean? It's just the fact that he's like very serious and monotone, but occasionally gets a little goofy, which I fucking love. I don't know what it is about that character type. I don't know what it is, but I love it. But yeah, Parks and Rec, again, one of the most consistent shows I've ever seen of a sitcom. It's so funny. It's so stupid. And I just adore the characters. There's some, the show does a lot of stuff that's like, it does certain like story beats where you're like, I don't know how I feel about this. This is a little weird. But then it's like, the writers are like, no, we know it's weird, trust us. Like, and by the end of the episode you're like, this is fine, actually. It created some really good comedy. But yeah, the show is just, it's so funny, man. It's so funny. You gotta watch it, man. What if I ever steered you wrong? I introduced you to Community, I introduced you to Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
There's so many things on my mind right now.
You can have Parks and Rec on your mind. It's right there.
Parks and Rec. It's gonna have to wait.
Wait for what?
I have to. The problem is that I have to. I don't know.
Bro can't find an excuse. He's trying. Nah. He's trying to find it.
I think what's also holding me back to Parks and Rec is the fact that, so like the Peacock account that I use has ads. I have to get that ads out, bro. That's
You
like
want mine?
you have no ads?
I think so.
If you have ads,
I'm pretty sure I don't have ads.
I'm going to nuke.
You want mine?
Whoa, yes. Whoa, wait. I don't know. Can't remember any more shows on my end. I'm not gonna go into like Loki or whatever because you know what? Oh,
well,
you know
Loki
what?
sucks anyway, so
I don't know. Fuck it. Oh, you know what? This is my last one. Daredevil.
Oh,
Daredevil.
I didn't think about Daredevil. Oh, fuck me. Of course. Duh.
Daredevil. Literally one of, if not the best superhero shows ever. Like
Absolutely.
it is so phenomenal. Like the story, like the story of Matt Murdock, lawyer by day, vigilante by night, is just fucking great. Like it's shot well. Every character gets their chance to shine. Like, man, Daredevil manages to do something that no superhero show has ever done. Like, I don't know, oh my god,
It's just brilliant, especially in season 3.
Yeah, season 3
Good
is
Lord.
like is amazing. And like, you know, the thing like with Daredevil is that like there wasn't really too much of like gritty like superhero shows, like at least to my memory. But when Daredevil came out, it manages to do like something like that, and it just put the bar so high for those shows that I understand. I understand what people were saying. You know, they were really worried about for Daredevil Born Again, but I still think that they have the chance to do that. But dude, yeah, they put the bar so high, and like just the dynamic of all the characters. You know, the dynamic between Matt and with Foggy and Karen, the dynamic between Matt and Elektra, like Daredevil and Kingpin. It manages to tell such a great story. And yeah, even with season 3, like just, you know, with them introducing Bullseye and giving him like a backstory, because you know, like Bullseye doesn't really have like a concrete backstory, and manages to make him like one of the best versions of like a sociopath.
So fucking good.
Like it's
ridiculous.
so amazing. And like it's like also like a thing to where like just like even like the fucking suit, bro. The suit is just incredible. And bro,
could be better.
Yeah, it's not the 2003 leather version of it.
I prefer the black suit.
You prefer the black suit?
Yeah, especially season 3 where he's got the shit wrapped. Yeah, and some of the whites poking out of the
yeah, it manages to bring out like such a great like beat for beat adaptation of The Man Without Fear by Frank Miller. And this is coming from me as like a really big Daredevil fan. It was such
You're not that big of a fan. You only have like most of the comics,
bro. Yeah, I have most of the comics, and I have a fucking suit in my chest.
Yeah, with the
two
Billy
helmets.
Clubs.
Billy Club, dude. Did I tell you how much that shit costs?
Yeah, it was like $3,000.
No, not 3,000. It was like close to 1,000. But anyways, I digress. Just Daredevil is surely one of the best like superhero series like ever. Like again, with the combat, the story arc of Matt Murdock, and it's also like one of the things to where, you know, the I love how in season 3 where Matt like starts questioning his faith, and like, you know, the one thing about me is that I'm not what?
Just keep going. I'm just reveling in how good the show is.
Yeah, and like, you know, it's one of the things to where I'm not a Christian, but like or I'm not even Catholic, but that was such a great like So it's such a great way. I don't know how they wrote that in with Matt, because Matt's he's like an extreme Catholic in the comics, but it's funny because he commits adulterous acts. But,
he's for a hardcore Catholic, he's not very he doesn't really abide by those rules very much, does he?
Yeah, no, he doesn't. But
yeah, and the show continues the trend of Daredevil being one of the most consistently written characters ever.
And even we talked about season 2 before, even at its worst, it still manages to do something great.
Yeah, season 2, worst season of Daredevil, yet it's still better than every other season of the Netflix Marvel shows except Jessica Jones season 1.
Yeah. The whole, the Punisher and Daredevil, that dialogue between each other is just, incredible. And that's something that I've always loved, that dynamic of, well, hey, hey, you shouldn't be killing these people because that's it's not the best thing, it's not the way to go around it. But then Punisher's like, well, I mean, I gotta kill these people or else they're gonna be on the street the next
they're just
day.
Gonna get out, and just
I love that. I just love that dynamic because
and he's right.
Yeah, he is right.
But unfortunately, we live in the real world, in the comic world. It's I guess Daredevil's right. I guess. Yeah. Both have points, and I really do love that where you really empathize and sympathize with the Punisher, because the Punisher as a character is what the justice system, how the justice system has failed a man, and how a man is trying to correct it in his own way. And going up against Matt, who of course is a lawyer and he wants to not really kill anybody and he's trying to play by the books. It's such a great dynamic. I love that. And of course, you have the Hand in season 2, which is it's okay. And then they do in the Defenders and whatever. Like I said, even with season 2 at its worst, it still manages to be, it manages to have great aspects of that season. But like I said, Daredevil is just absolutely phenomenal. It's incredible. If you don't like it, then you need a psychiatric test. You need a psychiatric evaluation. True. And the cast is obviously phenomenal. The cast is so good that Charlie Cox literally looks blind in real life. I still can't get over it.
I really wanted to meet Charlie Cox in Dallas this year.
But you didn't miss out on much. He wouldn't be able to see you anyway.
That's crazy. Hopefully I get to meet him in New York, because he's always in New York.
Vincent D'Onofrio's incredible.
What?
Vincent D'Onofrio's incredible.
Oh, yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio's amazing. Wilson Bethel as Bullseye. Oh, him in that costume. Oh,
so good.
And I was afraid to say it when I was like, man, he kind of looks better than Charlie Cox in the suit. And then you agree with me, and I was like, okay. And then even Charlie Cox agreed that he looks better.
Charlie Cox is okay. Oh man, he looks good, doesn't he?
I was like, okay, I feel validated right now.
Sad jawline. And his nose.
It is a jawline. But yeah, I won't say anymore because I'll just go on about it all day. Daredevil is just amazing.
Yeah, if I had to pick a superhero show, it's probably Hawkeye.
Hawkeye is really good.
I fucking love Hawkeye.
It's super fun. It's super grounded. I love how they made Hawkeye a character. I just wish there was more than 6 episodes. Because I want to watch it more. It's so fun.
Yeah, it's just it's just a really fun series that just adds so much to Clint's character, and because it's Christmas, it's got that vibe to it.
Yeah, I'm just really mad that we didn't get to see Spider-Man.
True. I think my last one is probably It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
You want me to watch that show so badly, but I just can't do it. I
Why?
can't do it right now. I can't do it. It's like fucking like 80 seasons and above.
It's 15 seasons, but they're only 10 episodes each.
No, nah, dude, I can't do that right now, dude.
Yes, you can. It's the same amount of episodes as Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Nah, dude, nah, but it's still ongoing though. That's the thing, dude.
Oh my God.
It's not stopping anytime soon. Like, it has to end. I can't do that. I can't do that, bro. I can't do that.
Yes,
bro.
you can.
Bro,
I understand it looks daunting. It really isn't, though.
Bro, dude, they just announced season 26, bro. What do you want from me?
Season 26. No, I do want you to watch It's Always Sunny, but I want you to watch Parks and Rec more.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see about that.
You can literally watch it today after I give you Peacock.
Yeah. Go on about it, Sunny.
Yeah, It's Always Sunny is fucking great. It's one of those shows like I always heard about, because it's been going on for 15, 16 years. But I didn't really know what to expect when I started it, and then the first episode they immediately start off strong with just the hard R flies. I was like, oh, this is where we're starting. Okay, got it. To be honest, like the first few seasons were a bit of a slog, but like it was still pretty well written. Really, it was like stupid enough. You know what I mean? Like it was not like it was boring. It was just I don't know like really who these characters are yet, and even the creators like agree, which are the stars of the show. They agree. They're like they even say they didn't really figure out what the show was until like season like 5 or 6. But I think it's a phenomenal show. The characters are just fucking hilarious, especially Glenn Howerton as Dennis. Just he probably gets the most. He probably gets memed the most. Or gets the most viral clips out of all of them, because he's such a phenomenal actor. He's one of the most underrated actors out there, just period. Fun fact, he was almost Star-Lord. He was like, it was up against Chris Pratt, who got it obviously, Glenn Howerton, and Zachary Levi, which would have been weird. Well, really, Glenn Howerton would have been weird too. Chris Pratt was such a different idea of what James Gunn wanted, but that's besides the point. It's just a hilarious show. It's one of those shows where it's like, if you're looking for dark humor, but you're not one of those assholes that it's like, haha, school shooting, haha, dark humor. Not that kind of dark humor, but just generally well written dark humor that handles some pretty insane subjects. It's also one of those shows that I don't really delve into the fan base. I don't really delve into the fan base for a lot of shows I watch, actually. The only one I really delve into is Community, because it's such a welcoming place, but I don't really touch The Office or even Parks and Rec. Or It's Always Sunny, because it's one of those shows that attracts the wrong kind of people, because they are very political in that show. But the whole idea of the show is that it's like a Seinfeld, but like they're the worst people on the planet, because Seinfeld, it's always commonly referred to as it's a show about nothing. It's like it's Always Sunny is a sort of similar thing, and even sort of have sort of similar character types, but they're just the fucking worst. And I think that's part of what makes it a little hard to watch initially, because it's just like, Jesus Christ, these guys fucking suck. Like, they're not likable at all. But like that's part of it. And they do a lot of political stuff, and sort of the wrong people, they're just like, yeah, these guys get it. It's like, no, they're making fun of people like you. They're not supposed to. They're the protagonists, but they're not good people. So it's one of those things, and it's also one of those things, especially in the more recent seasons, they've always been political, and people are like, man, I used to like It's Always Sunny back when it wasn't political. Literally the first episode the first episode of the show, that first season of the show, I mean, they talk hard R, racism, abortion, like gun control, like there's so much stuff in that show that they handle, and it's like, the closest thing I can sort of refer to is that they're sort of like the live action South Park, where it's like nothing is really off limits except blackface, which they did multiple times. But they're like, even in like, I think it was the most recent season, they're like, yeah, maybe the blackface was probably too much, wasn't it? Like, yeah, maybe it was. But yeah, it's just it's such a brilliant show. I think it is one of those shows though, like, I do want you to watch it, but it's like, you should be in the mood for some dark humor, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, incredible show. Is that the topic?
That is.
Did you watch anything this week?
Let me see. When did I leave off on?
Oh fuck me. Yeah, I don't
Oh, I think I left off on Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh yes, you did, because that was your Tom Cruise binge. Yeah.
So I watched 28 Days Later with Cillian Murphy.
Oh right.
Yeah, that was pretty like solid. I can tell where The Walking Dead took inspiration from, like the first beginning scene.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but like I don't know what's wrong with the director, the cinematographer, but they really love showing Cillian Murphy's schlong in that movie.
In 28 Days Later specifically?
In 28 Days Later,
okay,
yeah.
I'll put that on my watch
like
list.
literally it opens up like with him in the hospital bed. He unpulls the cover and it's just his like fucking schlong, bro.
Okay, good, because I felt deprived for Oppenheimer.
Yeah, he didn't get any Schloppenheimer in this one. But 28 Days Later is pretty, it's like, you know, it's a zombie apocalypse that broke out in London and it's reaching all around, and the whole thing is about survival. And like he meets like this group of people, or he sees these two people, and they end up meeting like this father and daughter, and they try to go reach refuge to like this military camp. Well, that military camp was like a trap, because they wanted to bring women there to, like, you know, kind of like, of course, you know, impregnate them and stuff like that, because it's a bunch of men on a base or whatever, and like, yeah, it's fucked up.
Would you say it makes you want to hate the government more?
It does. And then, like, yeah, I mean, it ends off on like a pretty good note. I mean, like they end up surviving. Spoiler alert. I mean, it like literally, you're not able to find it anymore on streaming services. Like, I had to like pirate it. Sorry, government. And so, you know, when you finish off 28 Days Later, you go into 28 Weeks Later, which admittedly, like, you know, I watched a little bit of it first because, like, you know, I thought that was the one with Cillian Murphy, but that was a sequel. Intro, beautiful intro. You know, there's a group of people, they're in this cottage. You know, the wife, dummy, like, lets in a kid, in which, like, the kid was saying, yeah, I was like literally being followed by zombies. The whole cottage is being overran by zombies. Everyone's dying one by one. There's this guy that like leaves, and like he thought he sees his wife die or whatever. Blah 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 blah. The movie is horrible. I don't like it. The characters are like literally like crouton brained, like pieces of shit. And then not only that, you have Jeremy Renner and Rose Byrne, two of your biggest stars, get killed off in the dumbest fucking ways imaginable, bro. Like, it's so fucking stupid. Like, I hate every single one of these characters.
Idris Elba's in it?
Idris Elba is in it. And you only see him for like, what, like 2-3 minutes?
Sure, but that was before he was like Idris Elba.
Yeah. And even then, like, you know, he sets off like a code red, like, which means like in this base they're killing everybody, civilians and zombies alike, and they're just gonna bomb the fuck out of like London or that area where they're in. The movie is fucking stupid as shit, bro. I fucking hate it. And it took fucking 4 writers to write this piece of shit movie.
I need people to understand that Torrid usually doesn't like hate movies. Like,
yeah, no.
Sometimes you'll think a movie is bad, but you don't hate it.
No, this movie's a fucking piece of shit, bro. I can't believe I fucking wasted my time on this shit. I fucking suffered through this fucking movie, bro.
You said you considered going to bed. You said you just turned this shit off.
Yeah, I like at 1 o'clock in the morning, I considered fucking going to bed. And I don't go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning. That's how you know this fucking piece of shit movie fucking sucks, bro. Fuck that movie. Anyways, I watched like Gladiator by Ridley Scott. Really, really good. Really good. I really liked it a lot. Definitely top 3 Ridley Scott movie. I like it a lot.
Excited for Gladiator 2 with Pedro Pascal?
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I watched Gone Girl by David Fincher. If you like, I think I'm terrified of women after this, but
never seen it, so I don't know what you mean by that.
Honestly, like it's probably one of my favorite Ben Affleck, like, you know, like roles of him.
Yeah, I've heard it's probably his best performance.
It's really good. I really liked it. Then I watched Real Steel.
Yeah.
Really, really good.
It's so good. Was it your first time watching it, or?
It was, yeah.
It's so good, isn't it?
It's so good. And it's funny how Sean Levy is working with these Marvel actors.
Yeah.
And it's funny how like literally you got like it's like literally before X-Men Origins Wolverine, or it's around the same year actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, he got a little practice in that. That's pretty cool. Then I rewatched Spider-Man 2 because like I just wanted to watch it again. I wasn't gonna watch Spider-Man 3 because I'm not watching that shit. But Spider-Man 2, it still holds up. It's still great. It's you really can't go wrong with Spider-Man 2. And then I watched the Maze Runner. Maze Runner, it's pretty solid. I really like dystopian movies. So the fact that this was on Max, it was right up my alley, and I was like, oh, you know, I've been wanting to watch it for a while, and I did. I like it. Yeah.
The Maze Runner. I remember I watched the Maze Runner when it came out. I thought it was okay. I've never really been a fan of the
dystopian genre.
Dystopian, like teen, like the Hunger Games and shit.
I've liked those, and like it's just because like there's a lot of dystopian movies that don't get made like that anymore. They're not as popular as they used to be.
Sure.
But I really like the dystopian genre, and you know the times we're living in, it's getting there. So I guess it's gonna be relatable.
I really love Real Steel.
Real Steel is really fun.
Rocky with robots.
Yeah, I could say that. I would say that.
Some of the robot designs in that are fucking great, and the CGI holds up.
The CGI does hold up, and you know,
a lot of it's practical.
Yeah, I've noticed that. Also, I forgot Anthony Mackie's in there.
Clarence.
And his parents have a real good marriage. What did you watch?
I read a book.
Oh wow, reading. Yeah. It's foreign to me.
It's actually a graphic novel. It's called I Am Alfonso Jones. Have you heard of it?
No.
I didn't think so. It's about this kid named Alfonso Jones who has some eerily similarities to Miles Morales, and he is murdered by the police. And it's about police brutality and stuff, and how the community reacts to that, and the Black Lives Matter movement. This is before George Floyd as well. I think the book came out in like 2017. So it's interesting because I didn't really know what to expect from it going in, but it's not just like, oh, he dies and here's how everyone reacts. I mean, that's part of it, but it goes through sort of an afterlife sort of deal. And it's like, if hypothetically, if there is an afterlife, what would that look like for the person or people who had their life cut short by police brutality? And it's a very touching read. I was like, I was getting to the end. I was like, ah, shit, I'm sad now. This sucks. I don't like being sad. God damn it. I had to read this. But I also watched Tucker and Dale versus Evil, like you forced me to do. Held my eyes open during the whole thing. But no, I watched it. It was good. It had that when it come out, like 2010.
What, Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
Yeah, it had that 2010 look to it. I don't know. Something about it. I was like, this feels very 2010. But yeah, it was good. It was good. It was funny. Alan Tudyk, hilarious. Bro from Burrow, who plays Tucker, the main one.
Tucker was Alan Tudyk.
Fuck, Dale. Yeah,
Tyler Levine.
Guy who plays Dale is really funny. He's actually in one of the funnier episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I was like, why does this guy look familiar? Yeah, it was really good. I like the concept of the film. I was gonna say I won't spoil it, but it's 13 years old. The idea, the whole thing is just a misunderstanding, which it's really funny. Jesus Christ, that main kid.
Yeah, the first kid.
Yeah, fuck, he's obnoxious.
Yeah, Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's supposed to be like that, but
well, definitely, but little prick with his fucking inhaler.
Yeah, goddamn.
Billy Loomis type beat, like
fucking hurts me. I have asthma.
Yeah, people with asthma, fuck it.
Goddamn. Sorry that I'm trying to breathe, bro. I think the funniest kill was when fucking Tucker is running and then that kid's running with him. Oh yeah, he thinks he's chasing him and then he gets fucking impaled. And then, like, also I love when like the guy like falls into the hole over Dale. And then Dale's like freaking out, and then he's like, "I think they got some sort of suicide pact going on."
Yeah. But I did really love how the main girl just like she got it. You know what I mean? She was like she didn't.
Yeah, she understood.
Yeah, I thought that was really nice. But yeah, it was just really fun. It was a really fun movie. I'd give it an 8 out of 10.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Did you make it?
Thank you. Well, I recommended it and you liked it.
I didn't like that much. I mean, actually, I think I'm going to drop my score to a 6.
Wow.
No. I also I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes of Gen V. I plan to finish it eventually, because I have time now that I'm pretty much done with this semester. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. But so far, very good. It's in the world of the boys, so it's very bloody. It's also very fucking weird. It's so weird. like these writers, they can't help themselves. Would you like a minor spoiler for how weird this shit is?
I've seen Gen V. I've watched the entire thing.
You did?
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
I did watch it.
When?
I know what happens. Like literally like 2 weeks ago.
I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
I'll tell you what happens at the end.
Don't tell me what happens.
You say you watched the first 2 episodes?
The first 2 or 3, I don't remember.
Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna talk about how the fucking small girl was like on a fucking cock, right?
God damn it. Yes. Yeah. I was like, Jesus. It's not as weird as The Boys season 3. That scene.
Yeah. Sound weird where the guy goes into his fucking penis and then fucking explodes him.
I remember I showed Nicole that scene, or like we were watching it, and then Nicole was visiting her parents, and so she came by. And we were like, you gotta watch this.
Oh, dude.
I think that was before I think that low-key sold her to watch The Boy. Because she did watch it after that.
That was so crazy.
Oh, it's fucking insane. You actually watched Gen V. I don't remember you mentioning that at all.
Yeah, I did. That's why I sent you a message. Let me see.
Regardless, good show so far, and you liked it.
I liked it. Yeah, it's really good.
I had no idea that the golden boy is Schwarzenegger's son.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I looked that up and I was like, wow, that's crazy.
And you know, in hindsight, it's really obvious because anytime he ran, he just was he went to swing a punch. He would I was like, oh man.
Yeah, no, there's you know, like there's like a twist, like with like the main girl, like Marie, like you'll see it. Like there's like a twist in there that's gonna like, and then makes it clear that it's going to like tie into The Boys season 4.
So what kind of monster are you? I wish I didn't have a Homelander and Soldier Boy spoiled, but it's kind of hard to get away from.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
really,
but like, yeah, how they're like, yeah, how they're in there. It's like the context is like very different.
Sure. Also, I can't remember exactly what the scene was, but fuck, man, the Deep is so fucking stupid. I fucking hate him so much, like in a good way.
Oh yeah, like it was like kind of like one of those like introduction scenes or whatever.
I was like, and he said some dumb shit. I was like, Jesus, shut the fuck up. like it's hilarious and I love it. But I'm like, God damn. Again, only watched the first couple or a few episodes. I think my favorite character is the shrinking girl. I forgot her name already.
Emily.
Sure.
She gets like, she doesn't become unbearable, but I just don't like a character in the like later episodes.
Well, that sucks.
Well, it's just, I mean, I don't know. Like, I'm just not a whole fan of what happens with her character.
She did fluctuate a little bit for me. There was a point where I was like, do I like her? But then it went on more, and I was like, oh, no, she's cool. I don't like Kate, the chick who can force people to do things by touching them.
I don't like her. I don't like her either, and you'll see why.
Oh, Jesus.
Marie's good, and I like Jordan.
Which one's Jordan? Is he the black guy?
The bigender.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah, they're good. They're awesome, so far at least. But no, yeah, they seem great.
They get even better, bro. I like them a lot.
Good.
Andre's cool, but he doesn't really, in terms of like abilities, he doesn't really showcase that much.
Am I supposed to know whose dad is?
Whose dad?
Yeah, because wasn't it was like, oh, he was like, he works for. Because I feel like they set him up and it's like, am I supposed to know this guy? Because his dad's supposed to be like someone important or whatever.
Yeah, it's like I mean, well, he's not really like super and duper like important, but I mean, you just
was he like in a previous season of The Boys or something, and I just forgot.
No.
Okay, so he just happens to be someone important. Okay.
Yeah. They're just using him as like a way to be like, yeah, you're supposed to be like your dad because
cool.
You're a suit.
I understand why they had to do it, but man, I really you may spoil it if there is more, but I really wanted more Clancy Brown.
Yeah, no.
Damn it.
That's it. That's it.
He's so good.
He is. So he's so good at playing a villain all the time.
So good at playing Mr. Krabs.
Imagine you just hear like he's like fucking laugh when like
you're expelled. But I also watched the Scott Pilgrim anime, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking great. It's delightful. Pissed me off a little bit. Not the show, but the reaction to the show. Jesus Christ. I can't tell because I'm not like within the Scott Pilgrim fan base. But from what I can tell, it's two camps. Number one, people who don't know what Scott Pilgrim is or what it's about, and people have taken a out of context screenshot of Scott saying something along the lines of like, apparently it's frowned upon in society for a 23-year-old to date a 17-year-old. And so people are like, duh, man, this show must suck. I can't believe this is so stupid. Obviously you can't date a 7. Yeah, no shit. It's Scott Pilgrim. But then there's also a camp of people that I don't want to give too much away. But the show certainly differs from the film and the graphic novel. And it's like Scott Pilgrim. I can't tell if it's fans of more of the graphic novel or the film, but purists that are just like, this isn't what it should be, and like, oh, they're disrespecting the original material, and it's like, shut the fuck up, please. It certainly makes fun of the film and aspects of the graphic novel. It definitely does do that, but it's not like, hey, you like this thing, you're stupid for liking this thing. Hey, look how stupid you are for liking this thing. It's like no, it's like, hey, look, yeah, this is a product of its time. It's a little silly, and we're gonna do something different. And what it does is I think pretty good. I think the finale, I think I wanted a little bit more out of it, personally, but it wasn't bad by any means. And the voice cast is just so good in this. I see a lot of criticism, actually, a lot of people saying like, oh, I didn't think the voice cast is that good, and people are like, oh, I think the Japanese dub is better. First of all, fucking weeb, Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up. Just because it's an anime, it was like, oh, the Japanese dub. But like, the voice cast did a phenomenal job, but I do think there were some parts of the show, because if people don't know, generally with voice acting work, if you're doing a Western show, if you're doing, you know, an American cartoon, or a cartoon that's done in your language, they usually get the voice work done and then animate to the voice work. They don't go in there and dub everything. So a lot of the times they do the lines and then they animate afterwards. And sometimes the animation doesn't feel like it matches the tone of what the voice the voice actor is doing. And I can't tell if that's miscommunication. It's also seems to be focused more in the earlier episodes, so I'm not sure what that's about either. But it does happen, but I don't think that's the voice actor's fault at all. As far as I know, for watching the film, they all pretty much give essentially the exact same performance. There are a couple exceptions to that rule, but not because they like change the character. It's more like we get to see more of the character, so we get to see more sides of them. Speaking of which, Brandon Routh's character is incredible in this show. We got way more of him than I thought we would, number one. And number two, what they do with him is hilarious, and Brandon Routh kills it. He's so good at it. And Brie Larson, anytime she's that character, it just sounds like she's having so much fun with it. And everyone else does a fantastic job as well. Chris Evans, what this show really did for me personally, what I got most out of it is just seeing more sides to the characters from the film, and obviously the graphic novel, but from the film, because that's what I've seen. Because the Seven Evil X's, it's like they're such fun characters that we get for a little bit and then they're gone, because, you know, he has to fight them and get through them all. So in this show, we actually get to see them fleshed out a bit more and get to see more of their character, and it's really, really, really fun. It's definitely worth the watch. Definitely do not watch it if you have not at least seen the movie, because a lot of the jokes, a lot of the show hinges on that. So yeah, but definitely, you should definitely give it a watch. I think it's 8 episodes. You could binge it so fast. Like, I
haven't done it yet.
You should binge it today. Do it now.
No, it's not gonna happen.
Damn it. Because you're gonna watch Parks and Rec instead. I understand. I get it. But yeah, the show was great. I think I'd give it an 8.5 out of 10. It's really, really good. But yeah, is that the show?
That is the show.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to the Avengers podcast. If you want to follow us, we're at Avengers on Twitter. That's AVENGE nerds, all one word. If you want to follow either one of us, you can reach me at @zenith_ on Twitter, or I'm on Blue Sky now. I got an invite to Blue Sky, so I'm at Zenith over there on Blue Sky. Not to brag, but yeah. Where can they reach you?
At Torn Guy on Instagram.
Awesome. We also have a Discord if you'd like to join the conversation there. This will be linked in the show notes. You can also check out our link tree for any additional links you may be interested in. You can also review the show in-app on Apple Podcasts. If you could leave 5 stars and a review, it would really help us out. Thanks again for listening to the Avengers podcast. We'll see you next week.
Later.